In the end, it went to the script. England, who dominated on day 3, won. Sanjay, how do you kind of sum up India's performance in this match? Mahendra Singh Dhoni at the end of the Lord's Test has said that whatever had to go wrong went wrong. But are there any factors that you think you can blame for India's defeat?
Uh, you know, my distress or regret at the moment is not so much about how India played, but now, when you look at the result, is how India planned this series. This was always going to be a high-profile series. This was going to be a series that would almost decide who's going to be the number one team, for at least for that moment or at the end of the series. This was a sort of a clash between number one and two, as it was between India and South Africa a few months back. And my only regret is that India couldn't go at England in the first two test matches in their full force. They're missing some key players. That can happen sometimes. You lose players because of injury. Sometimes it's almost freakish, it's unfortunate. But when you look at it, it is something that India could have perhaps managed better. So that is the only regret I have, that perhaps India didn't manage the fitness of their players well enough to make sure that their best 11 players were out there competing against England on a stage when the whole cricketing world was watching to see, which was the better team.
MS Dhoni, reviewing the match himself, said that they lost the match when the batsmen failed to kind of face the second new ball. Do you agree? Was that the turning point?
You could say that, because it was quite a significant collapse. India lost 4 wickets for 6 runs and all that. But having said that, look at the batting lineup that India had in those conditions against one very good bowling attack of England. There Abhinav Mukund, Yuvraj Singh, Suresh Raina, all playing in that lineup of 6 batsmen. Now that's not how India became the number one team in the world. Not with 3 sort of players trying to make a mark, or the 3 players who are well established of class. Sehwag, Gambhir missing was always going to be felt, and the 3 stalwarts was supposed to make up for it. But we can't be depending on 3 people there. Lakshman Dravid played well enough. There was that rare 3 consecutive innings failure of Tendulkar. But having Mukund, Yuvraj Singh and Suresh Raina all playing at the same time in a crucial test match was always going to hurt India somewhere.
It's the lower order, isn't it? I mean, how feeble. I mean, it's a very feeble resistance they've offered, and the figures themselves highlight and expose that. Is that a worry? And who now do you think should play at number 6 between Yuvraj Singh and Suresh Raina? Both of them seem to be susceptible or vulnerable to the short pitch delivery.
India's problem with the last 3-4 wickets is that they have batsmen who are not willing to get behind the line of the ball. They are slightly unsure, insecure, maybe a little fear as well when they're facing the big fast bowlers. So they're not guys who will get behind the line of the ball and just hang in there, like say an Anil Kumble or an Ajit Agarkar used to, or some of those players who used to bat at number 7, 8, 9. So what Praveen Kumar or Harbhajan at least tried to do that in the second inning. So what they look to do is just try and get besides the line of the ball and throw their bat around, hoping that will just offset the bowler. That's not going to work. In test match cricket, you can set the right field, and these are good bowlers you're talking about. The surface has got something in it. So I don't think that is going to change too much. I don't think India can expect late order resistance if they continue to have people like Srishant, Praveen Kumar, Harbhajan Singh and Ishant Sharma as their last 4 batsmen. So that is something that India have to take into account, that's going to be a constant. It's the top 6 that they need to worry about, and that's where I think, to answer your question, it's where I think Yuvraj Singh I would prefer to be the number 6 batsman, purely because he showed better technique, and mentally also he looked a lot better handling the short ball. I think he's got something to work there, Yuvraj, but Suresh Raina seems to have been really found out by the English bowlers. He seemed to have got some confidence after West Indies, but that problem has resurfaced, and the position that he gets into to play the short ball I feel concerned for him, and I don't think India should be taking that kind of a risk where batsman's weakness will become India's weakness at that important position.
One man whose performance and confidence seems to be really low, it's a big concern for India, is their captain MS Dhoni. He has failed to score runs. He's not even got starts, and he seems to be getting out to balls you wouldn't like a test batsman to get out. Do you see a change from Dhoni in, say, about 6 months back and the Dhoni now? Is there too much on his plate, or what is it you feel from the outside?
I think he missed the West Indies one-day series, so he had his break after the World Cup, and I think maybe the keeping has got something to do with his batting confidence. England is a tough place for wicket keepers. We see Jonathan Trott, Matt Pryor, beg your pardon, missing balls as well behind the stump. There's some late movement that happens and all that. So his fielding his keeping hasn't come good. And when you start failing in one of your two trades, the lack of confidence can affect your other trade as well. And the bowling has been superior. There's been help from the pitch. In South Africa, when India went there, there was perhaps just pace and bounce. But here you've got to counter the swing aspect, and the conditions overcast. There's movement in the air as well. So all these things have to be tackled by the batsman. And Dhoni has not been able to do that well. But I'm not so concerned about his batting. I think his keeping has to improve, and you'll see that it will immediately start having an effect on his batting. But to pick out Dhoni as the main problem, I don't think he is the main problem. As I said, missing three key players, and because India doesn't have a depth as a number one team that they should have to replace, say, two class batsmen with two more sort of world class players, or two world class bowlers to be replaced by a couple of others who are good enough and ready to go. I think India doesn't have that luxury, and that is affecting them in this series with the injuries that they have on their plate.
Yeah, one team who seem to have a luxury is England, or our England. Is this the best England team perhaps you've seen?
It's a team that has a pretty good bowling attack. It's a team that which has generally become the culture of international cricket. It's not England, even India. The three seamers gamefully sort of carried on right through the Test match. There was no help from the surface. They had limitations as three seamers, but they were still bowling with a lot of heart, and that is what England does as well as a pace trio, and their bowling attack. They've got Graham Swan, who hasn't quite made a mark yet. But it's a team that plays well. It tries hard to win, doesn't drop shoulders easily. They've got some ability in the batting as well. But India have not come, all cylinders firing. I wish India had their best 11 ready to take on this England team. And even then, England might have had the edge, but it would have been a better contest between the two teams, and you would have had a better understanding of how good this England team is. But what England has clearly shown India is, if you're aspiring to be number one, you've got to have depth like us, which India at the moment don't seem to have.
I mean, it's the third test. I mean, it is expected that Virendra Sehwag, Gautam Gambhir and Zaheer Khan will be back in the 11, and India will be back to a full strength side. I would like to put you in the hot seat and ask you, where do you think, what would be the final series result, if I have to ask you that today?
Well, you can't expect Sehwag to come in like a messiah and save Indian cricket and suddenly give them 2 wins or 1 win, or draw the series or whatever, because just one 2-day match is not going to be enough. So if at all he plays the third test match, it's going to be a gamble. India will be gambling on Virendra Sehwag, but I think considering how Abhinav Mukund has shaped up, it's a worthwhile gamble. Gautam Gambhir is perhaps not as much of a gamble, because he's played here. He'll be more than 100% fit to take on the bowlers in the next test. Zaheer Khan again will be a bit of a risk. India would be very keen to have Zaheer Khan in the team, but there will always be the risk whether Zaheer Khan will be able to give his best right through the test match. So maybe there will be times when Zaheer Khan will be bowling within himself and not giving India his best, which may be needed as a strike bowler, considering that there's hardly any support from Harbhajan Singh.
But you've not answered the question. What's the final series result, you say sitting here at this moment?
At the moment, I'm a little pessimistic about the result. For me, it doesn't matter whether India loses 3-0, 4-0, or uh, I'm just disappointed at this stage that such an important series we've not been able to have our best 11 playing, and we haven't lost players because of freak injuries. Maybe Gautam Gambhir, yes, but the other two that I'm talking about who are sorely missed here, and I think Harbhajan's form also has affected India. So it doesn't look too good for India. 3-0, 4-0 doesn't matter too much to me at this stage. England is looking the far superior team, and I'm not seeing any bright spots at the moment as far as India is concerned, unless we get a lively pitch and suddenly the seam attack gets the support that it needs at Edgbaston and at Oval.
That was Sanjay Manjrekar after the Trent Bridge press on day 4. He seems confident about England, but as far as India goes, he thinks that they have a lot of work to do and a lot of hard work to do actually. Thank you.